Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Todd Straka, and I am the Global Director of UL's lighting business. Before I introduce our next presenter, I wanted to take a moment to thank the ALA team for their continued support of UL. UL and ALA have had a long history of positive engagement and collaboration, which I've been privileged to be a part of for the last 11 years. ALA, CEE, the Consortium for Energy Efficiency, and UL, along with industry stakeholders and our sponsors, are currently in the process of completing our 2021 Integrated Homes Competition, an annual competition which, as many of you may know, first started as the Lighting for Tomorrow competition. And it's evolved with the industry and technology, and it's expanded its scope to include smart connected residential products in many categories, including lighting, ceiling fans, and lighting controls. Each and every year, I look forward to collaborating with Terry McGowan and the team at ALA, and UL is committed to continuing our strong relationship, including finding new ways to bring benefit and value to the ALA member community. For today's session, I'm honored to introduce Mark McClear, Chief Operating Officer at BIOS Lighting. Mark has worked in the lighting industry for more than 20 years. He has served in various engineering, commercial, and business leadership positions at Cree, Seoul Semiconductor, and BIOS Lighting. Mark has been a speaker, teacher, and thought leader in LED and solid state lighting, and has helped thousands navigate the transition from traditional lighting technologies to LED. He has taught for more than 20 accredited CE courses on implementing LED technology in commercial and residential lighting, luminaires, and lamps. He also is an inventor on 20 issued and published US patents in solid state lighting, and serves as Chief Operating Officer at BIOS Lighting. Mark has a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering from Michigan State University and an MBA from Babson College, and lives near Asheville, North Carolina. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mark McClear.
Thanks a lot, Todd. I appreciate that a lot. Appreciate that introduction. And on behalf of BIOS, I'm really honored to be speaking to the ALA members today, and to talk about a really interesting topic in lighting. It's one of the 3 or 4 areas that are really coming to the forefront. And I'm going to show you some stuff that has new science that most people haven't heard a ton about yet. So I call the talk Beyond Seeing, because our visual system obviously connects to our brain, and that's what we call seeing or vision. But there are things that are going on in the radiometrics spectrum that are beyond that, and that's what I hope to kind of and it interacts with our human physiology, and it has a profound effect on us. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about today. So I'm gonna start with what we all know, and that's the sunshine. So if you step out into the sunshine on a bright sunny day, this is the spectrum that's presented to you. And this is the Roy G. Biv that you remember from high school science class. It's generally pretty even and flat, and it's basically all colors. What we would say are colors are present in that. Now, when it comes to the light that actually enters our eye and is registered by us, it goes through it basically enters our eye, connects to the visual cortex of our brain. So we have this full spectrum that comes in, and then it's processed through what I'm calling simply a filter. It's technically known as the V lambda function. This is the function for human vision, and you'll see the grayed area here. Even though there's a whole bunch of blues and purples out there, we actually don't see it that well as humans. And then the same is true on the right hand side of the graph. In the red area, we do see red, of course, but we don't see it nearly as strongly as we see green. And that's just how the human eye works. So you've got all this radiation coming from the sun, relatively flat. Then it passes through your eye, and you register vision in these spectra shown here. Okay, now there's something else going on though in the eye, and this is the beyond part. And this is our circadian system. And our circadian system is yet another filter. It's a different filter, and that is attuned to this blue sky color. And if you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint, that's not it's not shocking or an accident. You would say, oh yeah, of course, the eyes would be tuned to this color. Your eyes are seeking this. Your body is seeking this, and once a day at least, you really do need this particular pale blue color. In North Carolina, we call that Carolina blue. So there's if I can make a little college football remark, but okay. So anyway, so the human circadian system is this type of a filter, and if you look at the two together, there's two different systems going on. One is your vision system that we already talked about, and the other is your circadian system, and they're all taking the radiation from the sun, but some of it is used for vision and navigation. Some of it is used to stimulate your human circadian system. So back to the kind of the drawing, you've got full spectrum light coming in from the sun, enters your eye, and it goes to two different places now. So the vision spectrum, the V lambda, goes to your visual cortex. The human circadian goes to the circadian clock, also known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus, if you want to get all technical about it. But so that it goes to two different places, and this is actually pretty new science. Now there are papers in the 70s and 80s postulating this. It really didn't get run to ground until they found it. They really verified it at Brown University just in 2002. But in the 100 years before that, medical science believed basically there were three cones and then rods in your eye, and that was all that the vision system was. And that's true for the vision system. But the IPRGC, that's a new sensor, and that I'm not even going to go into what that stands for because it's just too much. But it's a new sensor that they found in the eye in 2002. And that started a whole family of research at many different universities and government institutions. And actually, one of the founders of BIOS, my partner and chief technical officer, Robert Soler. Robert was a mission scientist at NASA in the 2000s when lots of this LED stuff was coming out, when they were working on different mission issues. And one of the things they found is that on the International Space Station, the sun rises and sets every 90 minutes. So the astronauts that are assigned to the ISS actually were all out of sync. They didn't get that blue sky signal. They didn't get a regular rise and set of the sun, and they were suffering medically because of that. And the NASA was aware of this work at Brown. Robert took that a step further, and he actually designed some lights that are now still flying on the ISS, and that was the beginning of my company, BIOS. So, but pull the clock forward another 6, 8, 10 years, and in 2017, these three scientists won the Nobel Prize for connecting light, this particular color light, to the gene that controls the circadian system. So 2002, 2017 is fairly recent stuff, and it's brand new, and it's very, very, the effect is very, very profound. So overall, again, broad spectrum light comes in from the sun, passes through a filter, that's how you see, passes through a different filter, and that is the reset button for your sleep cycle. And our bodies need the blue sky signal, but modern life prevents us from getting that. If your kids are in a school during the normal daylight hours, they're not getting outside, and they're not seeing this. If you're working in an office, as some of us used to do, and increasingly now we are again, if you work in an office setting, you may be inside all day. Certainly, elderly care or medical situations prevent everybody in modern life from getting outside. And 100 years, we're working today, right? So 100 years ago, our work would not have been sitting in a room, making a presentation over Zoom. We would have probably been working outside, and we probably would have gotten this nice blue sky signal between 10 and 2 o'clock during the day. And then we would have slept like a baby at night and not thought of it, because that's what we were designed to do. Modern life doesn't allow that. And I'll show you in a second what artificial light is giving us, and why that it's not why it's missing the mark on the circadian lighting. So the way that we like to think about it is in a simple and memorable thing that we call the vitals for healthy lighting, and that it's different than the. I know we'll have some lighting designers in the audience. We'll have some folks that are in like local showrooms and things like that are used to doing residential designs. And we normally think of light in terms of horizontal illumination. So we want 30-foot candles on the island. We want 20-foot candles at the coffee table in the living room. But when you're thinking of healthy lighting, you're actually thinking of vertical light. This is light that I'll show a picture of it in a second. Opposite of horizontal. So we think about the vertical, we think about the intensity, think about the timing when it's delivered, and of course it's got to look great. And that's if we had the healthiest light in the world and nobody liked it, that we would have failed in the mission. And then there's also the location, where the light is actually positioned, where it's coming from, and then the color and spectra, so that it delivers the light that we need. And we call that the vitals, VITALS. Kind of cute, but it actually helps to remember those. So when you're talking to your customers or coworkers about this, there are 6 things to keep in mind. Vertical, not horizontal. Brighter is better, and I'll show you what that means in a second. The timing of the day, we'll talk quite a bit about that. Appearance, location, and then the spectra, the light that's actually coming through those 2 filters. So vertical, the first one is vertical, and this is again the direction of the light. Normally light comes from overhead. If it's the window, it's obviously coming in this way, but vertical illumination is coming off a vertical surface into your eye horizontally. So if this is the human eye, this is where the sensor is positioned in the back of your eye. If it's coming in above your head, obviously you're having no effect. If it's coming in at a moderate angle, you have a moderate effect. The best place for this to come in, enter your eye, again, no surprising from an evolutionary standpoint, this is where the horizon is. This is where you're looking if you're outside, is between the 45 and 90. And then stuff coming in from down below actually has almost no effect on your circadian rhythm. So this angular thing, the vertical light component is really, really important when you start to think of lighting design and when you start to think of the time of day. And this is the opposite of how we normally do lighting, because we normally design for horizontal foot candles. Now we got to begin to think about vertical foot candles and the intensity and spectra and so forth that comes in vertically into the eye rather than the normal horizontal foot candles we might measure on this coffee table. Okay, so the takeaway here is we normally design for horizontal illumination. We've got to design for both horizontal and vertical illumination because we're considering the health impact of the lighting. All right. And then the intensity. Actually, again, back to modern life. We're actually in what Robert calls a lighting fog. Basically, it's where our daytime that we're stuck inside, maybe in a very drab, relatively underlit environment, when it really needs to be very, very bright. And our nighttime, this is a picture of Los Angeles from about 15 years ago, and it's much better now that they've got a lot better dark skies and some LED streetlights in there. Here's Times Square, but they don't even turn the streetlights on in Times Square. There's so much light, so it's brighter than we need at night, and it's darker than we need during the daytime. So we're kind of in a fog, and we need to be, instead of designing for dimmer days, we need to be designing for brighter, and then as dark as you can, as safely to navigate through the system or through the space, is the best possible healthy light at night. And we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Spectra and CCT there. So basically, the takeaway here, first takeaway is vertical and horizontal, not just horizontal illumination. Second takeaway is intensity, brighter days and darker nights. So there's also the timing aspect of it. So here's a clock, and it's this is the same thing. Brighter days, we say sleepier nights here, but it's basically from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You want it as bright as possible, and you want to turn the blue spectra on from, let's say, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Bedtime. You would have the blue sky spectra off deliberately, and then of course as dark as possible at night. So we need the blue sky signal at the right time of day. So we need it during the daylight hours. We definitely don't need it after 6 p.m. And at night, we need as little light as possible. Should come from the bottom. I'll show you on the next slide. It should come from below your horizon, and especially as little blue light as possible. And to do that, you need a little bit of control, but it turns out you don't need that much. Okay, we're all lighting professionals. We all know about CCT, correlated color temperature. So this is basically the lit appearance part of it. You want to make sure that the appearance looks great, and you don't want to go too cold to do that. So there are options that do a lot of circadian stimulation in the 5,000 and 6,000 Kelvin range. Totally wrong for most residential lighting applications. You really want to be down here in the 3,000-ish, maybe 3,500 Kelvin during the daytime, and then really as warm as the client could take it is the best you can do at night. So again, this is another one of the vitals. This is appearance. It basically has to look great. Brighter days, darker nights, and the CCT during the evening should be as warm as possible, and the CCT in during the daytime should be as high as possible, is practical for the application. So then there's the location where the light is coming from. So it's very interrelated, I would say, to the vertical illumination point I made earlier. Our eyes develop to see the horizon above us. That's the 45-degree angle to 90 horizon. This is where the blue sky is. This is where we need to be looking. And light positioned above our head that contains the blue signal is great for us as long as it's on that angle. And then, of course, this is a residential picture, pretty great design, and yeah, I think that's a fairly good application for this. Light in the evening should come below the horizon and be as warm as possible, as I mentioned before. And here's a side by side of a lamp that had this is a normal Edison A lamp that would have up and down light radiation. This light from above is actually not that great for us from a health standpoint. This particular lamp, I'll show you how that works in a second, has the top. It uses a really old technology. Terry McGowan took me to school on that, called Silver Bowl. I think you guys know what that is. So basically, you want to point the light down as much as possible, have it coming from below the horizon where it has no circadian impact, and it should be a very warm color temperature in the evening hours. So daytime from above, high CCT, nighttime from below, low CCT. And I did quite a bit of homework to put this simple graph together, but I really like it because it shows basically the failure of any artificial light source, not just LED, which is missing the blue sky, not just the screens that we all look at for hours and hours a day. Even candles and oil lamps, even fluorescent lamps were relatively weak on this cyan color. And you see, this is the human circadian response that I showed earlier, put on top of this. Basically, candles don't have it. Your screens really don't have it. They kind of have a little bit of overlap, and I think we'll probably have some discussion about that. But the screens have a little bit of it. Normal LEDs don't have very much at all of the circadian response, and fluorescent lamps or any other light source really doesn't have it. To get the circadian response, you have to do it very intentionally, And we have some help that you can help you to do that with. What that spectra looks like is slightly different. This is a normal LED spectra, you'll see, but it also on top of that, it has this is what we call sky blue, hits the human circadian stimulation. So this spectra gives you what you need during the daytime and to hit the circadian during the day, and then we deliberately take it away at night so that we don't hit you at night. So to get the vitals right, there's a couple of things that we can all do, and the very best can do, better than any of the light sources that I already mentioned, better than any light sources that BIOS makes, honestly, is get outside. The sun in nature is the best thing. If you can't get outside, then you have to pay attention to the vertical. That is where the light is coming into your eye. You have to get the intensity right. That's brighter days and darker nights. Timing of the day right. You don't want bright light at night. Definitely, you don't want the blue sky signal at night. Cooler colors during the day, as cool as the application will allow, and as warm as possible at night. The location should come from above your head during the day, below at night, and you should select a light source that delivers the effective circadian spectrum of the day, and then cuts it out at night. So that's how to get the vitals right. And it sounds like it might be a lot of work, but it's actually not. The natural rhythm of the day normally handles this for us. If we can just get outside, we need to work a little bit harder at it, but not that much harder. So doing the work of nature, basically we're taking the stimulation, that is the spectra and the appearance, at the right time of day. This can be dimmed in intensity for nighttime applications. And you see this animation is going through a sequence of that starts out at about 3,500 Kelvin for the daytime, and it goes down to 20, and actually it's 1,900 Kelvin at night. So it's a very orange color. And this is available in standard A19 and BR30 formats that you guys use every day, and they're intended for homes and kitchens and rooms where daytime and nighttime activities occur. So if it could be in a home office, it could be a kitchen, anything that's on a lot, and people are working in and they want their mood affected, they want their productivity affected, they want to be alert. This is what you'd have during the daytime, and then on a simple wall dimmer, you would dim it down at night. Here's how that wall dimmer works. Again, any triac or any LED dimmer will work. You set your dimmer to 100% during the daytime. So if this is the dimmer percentage that's on, basically this is the brightness. Basically, you set it to 100%, 100%. That would have the slider all the way up. You would get the full intensity. You would get the full circadian stimulation because this blue peak, this extra blue peak is in here, the sky blue peak is in here. And then if you start to actuate that dimmer and you move down, let's say from 100% down to, let's say 90%, what you begin to do is the brightness stays almost the same. This is the brightness. So the brightness comes down just by a little bit. But what's happening is this spectra is being pulled out. This blue spectra is being pulled out. At 80%, it begins to pull the blue sky signal out. And then at 50%, the appearance begins to transition. The CCT changes from 35 to 27. And then the intensity is also coming down, and you continue to go down. And then it changes to a very warm color. You see that there's a little animation here. This is at night, we want no blue whatsoever. And that's what this lamp delivers at the end of the day. All right. So I mentioned they come in standard A19 BR, and this is the Nightfall. That's with a silver bowl technology. One thing about this, this is very unconventional. It takes some getting used to. This is a very warm color, 2,200 Kelvin, 90 CRI. So it's a very, very gorgeous light, and it reflects everything downward. And what that looks like, here's a little bit bigger picture of it. If you have it in a standard portable lamp like this, up and basically this gives you up and down. You actually don't want this at night. You want only the down, and you want it as warm as possible. And that's a very, very nice way to end the day and the second part of your day. This is great for bedrooms, and in fact, that's where I have this lamp right now. Then we've got this sort of the ultimate embodiment of a circadian light. We call this SkyView, and this is a portable table lamp that runs off an app. It gives you a sunrise and a sunset according to your its default is according to whatever your zip code is, and it gets the signal off the cell tower to figure that out. But you could override that. Let's say if you're a shift worker or whatever, you can if you have this sitting on your desk, you turn the thing on in daytime mode, and in a matter of minutes, you actually can feel it. You can feel your mood change. It affects mood. It affects cognition, and it affects alertness and productivity. And this is a very, very different experience. One problem that we have with it is it's almost impossible to photograph. This is another problem that we have with it. It has to be seen in person, and we've had this in production for about a year, but because of COVID, we haven't been able to really show it to very many people. And we had it for the first time at Light Fair at the Javits Center last week, and it stopped traffic. It was amazing for people to see it in person, stand there, and then they could feel what it's doing to them. Was pretty amazing. I mentioned it was hard to photograph. We tried. This is a couple of different ways. This with the lights off. As you begin to turn it on, you get, this is what a sunrise and a sunset might look like. I've got it sitting here. I don't know if you're able to see them, probably in a little tiny thumbnail for you. But this is in nighttime mode, and it can go through different stages and be on with white light also for working in the daytime. And what else? And there's the app that I mentioned. You just pick your time of day, and that's how the app works. And you just you program SkyView to deliver the vitals as you need them during the daytime. And then this is actually my last slide, and I'll be happy to take some questions after this. But so this just sort of wraps it up. So if you get the vitals right, the beyond seeing part is indoor lighting that can strengthen your circadian rhythm, help you get a good night's sleep, enhance productivity. You feel better, you're more alert, and then you get the right results. That's a better night's sleep at the end. So with that, I think I'll toss it back to Liz and maybe to Todd if there's any questions that have come in, or if we can talk about this some more.
No, I do have some questions. Thank you for this. The first one is, what would horizontal lighting look like? Could you clarify a little bit about the difference between the vertical and the horizontal lighting, and what you mean by those things?
Sure. Yeah, that is confusing. And I tried to show it in this cartoon, but I probably went too fast. But so we're used to, and the terms are a little confusing because you have to think about it in its opposite. So we normally, when we're just doing a lighting design, we'll normally design for horizontal illumination. That is, light that's coming in from the vertical is striking a horizontal surface like this coffee table, and that's how we figure out that that's how we do the calculations, and that's how we figure out how many can lights we should have in a room, how many lumens we want in each pendant light. That's how we normally figure it out, is basically how much light do we want striking a horizontal surface. But our eyes are not pitched horizontally, they're pitched vertically. They're taking light that's coming in horizontally, and to do that, it's light coming off this television is vertical illumination, even though the arrow is horizontal. Light coming in at an angle off this wall is vertical illumination, even though it's coming in again horizontally. And what I mean is when we do the calculations for this table, we should say, oh, we're trying to get to 30-foot candles here. We may try and get to 20-foot candles bouncing off this wall, because that's really what is coming in and affecting our eyes and affecting not our visual system, but our circadian system.
And you're calling it vertical because it's the overhead light that's shining straight down, illuminating the horizontal surface, but we need light that's shining in horizontally to the eye. So, okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, Liz. It's a bit inverted, but vertical illumination comes in horizontally, and horizontal illumination comes in vertically.
I think we need a whole separate seminar on this part. Okay, great. Thank you.
I think the easy way to remember it is it's the opposite of what we normally do. If we normally come in and we put our light meter like this to figure out how much light is coming down like this, we have to put our light meter like this now to figure out how much is coming this way, because that's where our eyes are. That's where we're looking.
And that's why, for instance, you've got the lamp behind you, and it's in a lamp that you will have kind of in your eye line. You don't have it in a pendant that will be shining down as much.
That's an excellent point. It would normally be right in front of me, just off to the side when I'm working, because I want it to hit my face. I put it here so you guys could see it.
Mm-hmm.
But normally you do want it exactly like that. I will add, though, you mentioned pendants. Pendants and sconces are actually an excellent way to do this. Overhead lights are a little bit harder, because once you get above 45 degrees, it's really not affecting you.
Got it. Thank you.
But you do get an effect bouncing off. So if you had that one example that I had with a beautiful cathedral ceiling, the light can bounce off the wall like it is here and still come in as vertical illumination.
But
Okay.
that's why you put the light meter going horizontally, to get the bounce off of the vertical surfaces to find out what's activating the circadian part of the eye. Okay.
You got it.
I think, okay, good. It's working.
It's tricky. It is tricky, I admit.
Do shades have any effect on the spectra of the light? If I've got a decorative shade, is that something worth considering?
Well, a shade could work as a filter that could subtract from the light. So if this is the light that's coming in from the daytime, you could have a shade that could detract from it. A shade can't do much to add to it.
Right. But
yeah. So I mean, although you may get a different effect visually, it won't have an effect on you on your circadian system.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. When should we try and get outside? What time of day? Is it a particular time? Is there a particular, angle of the sun we should be shooting for?
Great question. And I try and reduce it to a rule of thumb. I like to tell people between 10 and 2, and for about a half hour.
Okay.
If you could do that, you would be much happier and alert. You get rid of the afternoon sleepies. If you did that, that would be very good for you if you could do that. And if you can't, then you need a different light to help you indoors.
Great. Okay, so a lot of us are working from home now. I am right next to a big bay window. I can see the sky. Does that accomplish that, or is it better to have it all
certainly
around?
does to a measure. It's way better than being in a room without it, without any natural light. I can't, you need a meter to measure exactly,
Sure.
how much, but I would say that's great. And again, best thing you can do is get outside. Maybe the second best thing is a great big bay window. But what we do know is that the lights that we currently have generally are very poor for human circadian stimulation. So if you're locked away in a room with no windows, that's definitely bad.
Okay. What does the app do? Hold on, where did that question go? Is it necessary for the use of the lamp? So do you have to connect it to your phone and control it with the app?
No, there's a manual switch that in fact, that's the one that I have. It only has that. Mine's an engineering model before we got the app up and working. But basically what the app does is, if you think about it, think this is a normal LED Spectra. You see this big valley here. just unbelievably right where you need it. LEDs don't have it. Fluorescents don't have it. Candles don't have it. Even your TV and your smartphone generally don't have very much of it. But this Spectra that we give this during the day so that you have it you have this blue sky peak during the day. And then, as I showed with that dimmer, we take it away at night so that it looks more like this Spectra at night with no blue. And then during the day, you get the blue that you need.
So you mentioned cell phones, and they've got these blue filters on them, but if they're not even emitting the sky blue color anyway, does that do anything?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I don't want to overemphasize Spectra. I mean, because Spectra is one of the 6. Don't forget that intensity is probably, I would say, even more important. And what you're doing a good thing for yourself if at night you use either the Apple or the Samsung phone that has those filters. What it's mostly doing is reducing the intensity, which is great for you. Everybody should do that 100%. It doesn't, and it can't do much for the Spectra. So you are getting, as you see here, you are getting some blue through, even with the filter on.
Okay.
So it's not the best thing for you to do, to lay in bed and look at your phone, even though I think every one of us have done it.
Yeah. Oops. Okay. I'll take a note. Okay, Mark, do you recommend the use of this lamp by itself or in combination with other lighting in the room? I'm thinking of glare and general visual comfort.
Yeah, that's why appearance is so important. And one of the vitals, that's the A in the vitals. I don't think you want to. You certainly don't want to set up a situation where it's uncomfortable glare-wise or an uncomfortable CCT. I think that this is used to augment. That's the great thing about a portable lamp, is you can put it right exactly where you need it. And I see it as complementary, not necessarily just a one size fits all.
So even having that lamp in the room, if it were pointed at you and shining on your face, that would be sufficient, and all the other lighting can be, more standard lighting, and that's sufficient.
That is true. I can say with a lot of confidence that if you had that thing on your desk just a few feet away, it's by far the single best light that we know of.
Okay. Are you working on getting BIOS product into healthcare facilities, senior facilities, Alzheimer's care?
Great question. That's actually most of what we do. I didn't go into it because we're speaking to kind of a ALA and residential type of audience, but that's mostly what BIOS does. We partner with we're up to about 40 different brands that we work with, and we sell our technology to them, and they would install it as companies you would know, maybe like Axis or LumenWorks or ALW, HE Williams. These are on the commercial and industrial side. They do a lot of installations at NICU units, at elderly care facilities, and a lot of health care clinics also.
Okay. So this is the last question I have so far, and I'll keep an eye on it in case anybody else would like to submit a question using the Q&A button on your screen. But so what are some general rules of thumb? If we're going to do one or two things, what should those one or two things be?
I would go back to get outside if you can. I mean, you should just be mindful that this is new science. I mentioned it earlier. This is relatively new stuff. It's only been around for well, the Nobel Prize was 4 years ago. Brown stuff was about 20 years ago. That's relatively new on a science standpoint. So I would say the single best thing you can do is just be aware that this is another thing that's going on in your body. And this is how your vision system works. This is how your circadian system works. Best thing you can do, get outside. Think about it. How how can I steal 30 minutes between 10 and 2? That's the very best thing you can do. Second best thing you can do is to try and get, there are other products on the market too that have some of these features. I would try and get some lighting during the day, especially if you're indoors, that can give you that signal and help you to sleep. And then also, I guess the third thing would be is you try and have it as dim as possible at night in your house. That is after 6 p.m. We have it very dim, and we have deliberately chosen very low CCT lamps. And in a matter of days after doing that, you can start to feel it, your sleep cycle improve. So that would be my recommendation. So get outside if you can, get some circadian lighting during the day if you can, and definitely lower CCT and lower intensity at night.
Very good. We had one last one come in. It's more of a comment, and it says, an exciting challenge from a lighting design standpoint will be to integrate this new lamp into the lighting design of a variety of residential spaces.
Yeah, I guess that's definitely a fair comment. Every new technology has its new challenges. I'll say that we've tried to make you saw the simple dimming. We're not making anybody go get a new dimmer or get any sort of new technology. We tried to make it as compatible as we can with existing tools that everybody is familiar with, has confidence in, and knows. And yeah, so I would just encourage everybody to try and get their hands on one. They're on Amazon. They're on other outlets as well. Just Google it on for BIOS. And just play with one and get used to it, and then figure out how you can integrate it from a design standpoint.
Mark, thank you very much. If you have any final thoughts.
Just that I hope everybody's as excited about this as I am. This is one of the areas of lighting that's really new and exciting. It's got serious scientific content, which I've always been attracted to. But the really thing is that this is good for everybody. It's good. It's good for everybody. And once you do it, you would never go back to not doing it.
Thank you for your time, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.